So I want to talk about another subject that is detailing. Detailing, it's a big part of game and it takes a lot of time. And I want to talk about the subject of depth of field because I feel like it's misunderstood, especially when you start learning game development and you want to make everything pretty. And this tool can really help you to make your game experience a little bit better. So what I mean by that, let me take a look first at some master's painting. Let's take a look at this painting here. Basically, you will see that some areas have like details, like here, most of the details are in this area, right? But as you get further and further away, you will see that the details are gone. Also here, you see more like less details on this area. And this is a technique that a lot of painters use to not only enhance like the main focal point to be more detailed than the others so it can get more importance, but also it's a way for you to save a lot of time because you don't need to detail all of this. Take a look at those brush strokes. They're just not really that big of a deal. Let's take a look at this one. This one is not really an old painting, but it's from Crack Mullins. You will see here that most of the details are in this area here. Whereas as you get further and further away, those details start to vanish. And so you focus more on this. And what this makes is not only makes the image prettier, but also increase the contrast a lot, which it's a very important topic. It's another painting of his. Now the detailing part is not in the front, it's in the back. You see the back of this. Press let me see, how can I, there you go. So let's take a look at this. You see the back of this ship is completely detailed, right? It has a lot of details here. But if you see these brush strokes here are just very loose, very loose. Some characters here are detailed, like having some details here and there. And then you go back to here, like this engine, also very detailed. But when you take a look at this, look at these brush strokes here. It's like a kind of like a kid painting, right? And same here. Here is like more textures, more details. But here's like, whatever. Just put something there, enough to give enough details and shapes, and that's it. Same here, the background is blur. You can use a lot of fog to do that. Also here, also Crack Mullins, you can see that the character, it's the main focal point and it has all the details. And then in the back you can see like the samurai has very, very little detail. And look at this one, it's even like a design shape, not even like, it doesn't even have form. It's like a 2D image here. Like, look at these colors here. That doesn't make much sense, right? So I can continue going with hundreds of examples, but I want to show you like how can you apply it here? Well, there are a couple of ways, and one of my favorite ways is to use depth of field. So let's take a look at this game. So we play the game, and you see at this point everything has like the same level of detail, right? And this is like not really detail or anything, is like just normal stuff. But you see that at the back, especially these buildings at the back, they have a lot of detail. And when you talk about focal point in games, you want to talk about the gameplay area, which is here. Anything that is not in the gameplay area should have a little bit less detail, just so that the player can focus. Just like the paintings, like the player can focus more when it's more detailed there. So we can use the same techniques here in Unreal. So what I like to do is to go for a post-process volume. We just drag one here, and I'm gonna go search, go to unbound, just to make it apply to everywhere. I'm going to find the depth of field. Now, what I can do is just select all of those, and I want to play with the focal distance here. So if you go like 50, no, it's very easy to play with this number and not get any result. So if you get like 50, like everything close to you will be like blurred. So let me play the game like this. Now you will see even our character starts like, you know, blur. So let's go for a pause process here. And what I can play with is these values here. I can just put like 100, 110 maybe. So it's looking a little bit better, but I feel like I can play with the settings a little bit. And now you see that the background has more blur. I can actually change the amount of blur that there is, and also change the focal distance. Play it a little bit like this, 100, 110, just so that we don't see the player blur. Maybe something like that. So you see that the back of the this church is less and less detail. Let me just exaggerate for a bit. Let's just imagine I got the details right, like 150. And let's just say our character is fine. I just need to play with the blur radius and, you know, this kind of stuff. But what you see here is like more, you know, more focus on the character. Just go back to 250. There you go. More focus on the character and less focus on the background. So let me put 220. Try to play with the settings a little bit. But anyway, you get the idea. And now if I uncheck, you can see the difference, right? It's minimal, but like the background starts having more and more like blurred radius. So let me just go back to this and put something like 110, 100 maybe. 100 looks like a decent number. So you start blurring the parts that are in the back, right? And then you just play with the settings until your gameplay area is neat. The cool thing about this is, like, take a look at the details from here. Basically, you don't see much detail. You don't care because it's blush out. It's like the strokes that we saw before is kind of like the same effect here, right? Because when I leave the game and take a look at this, they don't have much detail. Like, let me change the post-process volume, and you can see the detail like this. So not only does it look better, but when I get closer to here, you will see that there is a lot of details that I haven't really put. It's just a simple tiling texture, and you know, it's not the greatest asset in the world. Same here, like a lot of detail, but it's just a simple texture that I'm using. So as soon as I go and click this one, it instantly, you lose the attention for that one and you focus on what's happening here in the game, which is the gameplay area, and in the back it's like blurred, right? Now this not only allows you to basically make your game look better and also feel better, it also saves you a lot of time because you don't really spend too much time on detailing those assets that you're not gonna be seeing anyway. So in a way, just like painters here, we can save like a lot of time on detailing these parts where they are not important, right? The important stuff is here. and these parts with these areas we determine they're not important. Same in games, just adding this post-process volume will actually put the things that are far from the gameplay area and actually make the important things more detailed automatically, even without changing the texture or the models or anything. And this kind of technique which will just allow you to, be get a better gameplay experiences. No, so I wanted to talk about the depth of field because it's something that not many people talk about, because they just think it's a feature in Unreal Engine, and that's cool and everything. But when you know the application of this into visual arts and how you can apply it to your games, then this is where you get a lot of power, because you kind of treat like a game like a painting, like different frames, and that's kind of like the way I like to treat it. It's just a collection of different frames, and every frame like it's a pretty picture. It's just a modern way of painting the world, right? And just by using these tools, you don't need, normally you use the brush strokes and do them very big, but here you just put the post-process volume, and it's just the fastest way to do it, and you don't need to undetail those assets. You can leave it as detailed as this, and it doesn't matter because the gameplay area will have much more importance. Like here you see the character in the back, you will see the blurred elements here. So this is what I wanted to talk about, a topic that I feel it's not really being addressed. So as I continue to find those topics, I will upload them to see if there's something else to share. And yeah, I will see you next time.